أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. صدق الله العظيم. Continuing with the Abwab al-Bir of Surah Al-Baqarah, which were introduced in Lays al-Birra an tuwallu wujuhakum. That was verse 177 of Surah Al-Baqarah. So we discussed two aspects, two issues. Now over here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the issue of fasting, which falls under the ibadat. When he spoke about the branches of aqaid, the ibadat, akhlaq, character, and muamalat, then this falls under, the Sawm falls under, obviously, the ibadat and the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So verse 183 of Surah Al-Baqarah, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, O believers, O all you who believe, kutiba alaykumus siyam, fasting has been prescribed upon you. Kutiba alaykumus siyam, fasting has been prescribed upon you. Kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, just as it was prescribed upon those before you. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the hikmah, the wisdom of the Quran Kareem over here, citing those that were before us, that is to show us, that is to make it easier. In Arabic they say al-baliyya idha ammat khaffat, that when there is something that is there's an issue, there's a problem that involves more people, not just an individual, then a person feels more at ease. So over here the Quran Kareem is saying that this isn't something just put upon you, this has already been upon those before you, meaning it's also done, it's possible. A person may look at this hukum, this command of fasting, as something very difficult. Can we do it? Can we not? Will it be possible for us? So the Quran is saying, Quran Kareem is saying that it was also prescribed upon those before you. Meaning if they can do it, they did do it, so can you also. Now the ayat is not saying that just that the Sawm, that the method of our Sawm, or for how long our Sawm is, for how many days, for how long our fasting is, in all those aspects it was necessarily the same. How long did the other people, the Ahlul Kitab before this, how long did they have to fast for? How many hours, for example? Was it from dawn to dusk? Was it for an entire month, etc., etc.? Those details are not necessarily mentioned, nor are they intended over here. كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُم. And the final part of the verse, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. The why? What's the objective? What's the idea behind this fasting? Is it that a person should go on a little diet for a few days, for a month? No. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. All of this, the objective of this is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may attain taqwa. Obviously, we've heard this speech many a times, and we've been hearing it from, I'm sure, for the last few weeks. The question is that, alhamdulillah, we've been in the month of Ramadan for almost about 2 weeks now. How much of this taqwa has come into our lives? I mean, this is so we've, before Ramadan we had preparation for Ramadan. During Ramadan we were still encouraging, etc. Now alhamdulillah we've almost been in the month of Ramadan for the last 2 weeks. So each of us can, and this isn't something that you have to go ask someone else or look at someone else's status, that where are they standing, but this is for each person to look within their own self. That 2 weeks almost of Ramadan have passed. The Quran Kareem is saying that this Sawm, and alhamdulillah we have been fasting. It's not that we haven't been fasting, alhamdulillah we have been. So Quran Kareem is saying that this is so that you may attain taqwa. How much of this taqwa have I attained? Really, where do I stand? Before the month of Ramadan, for example, there were certain things that were difficult for a person, for example, to stay away from, certain things for a person to do whether either way, certain ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, certain commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that a person was feeling difficult for them to carry those things out. Maybe a person before the month of Ramadan, they had lots of mahabba and love for wealth. They say, for me to give in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for me to give my zakat, it's too difficult. It's very hard for that person to part from his money. So has this Sawm, has this fasting of it, has it brought any change in that thought, in that idea, or in the level of this person's heart or not? So that's one idea, one way a person can see. Or before the month of Ramadan, for a person, it was very difficult not to backbite. And anytime they see someone, they want to get together and speak about someone else. Or it was very difficult for the person to stay away from lying, from cheating. So now after these 2 weeks of the month of Ramadan, is there any change in that? So this is the time where we need to kind of look that where have we reached. So لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may attain taqwa. The hadith of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَيْثُ مَا كُنْتَ, اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَيْثُ مَا كُنْتَ, that have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whenever you may be. Meaning this taqwa is not only now for the month of Ramadan. That person has this intention that, okay, for the next 30 days or for the 30 days of the month of Ramadan, inshallah I'll pray all 5 salah, inshallah I will stay away from all these wrong things. But then the day, as soon as the announcement is made that now the moon of Eid has been sighted, now a person goes right back to the same. So from right now, from this point, from the month of Ramadan, we should rather not necessarily make an intention, but we should rectify our intention. That many brothers during the month of Ramadan, for the month of Ramadan, they're very punctual. They're very encouraged, and they do a lot of ibadat, alhamdulillah, and they stay away from all the wrong things. But many a times we kind of have this short-term intention that for the month of Ramadan, all this, it's okay. For the 1 month, I can do this, right? But as soon as this month is over, we go right back to what a person wanted to be. So the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the month of Ramadan is what? It's to boost that taqwa. It's to boost that taqwa so that a person can use that taqwa for the rest of the 11 months. Such a level of taqwa should be achieved in the month of Ramadan that can last a person for the next 11 months. So that when shaitan and the shayateen, they do come back, a person can, it's not just the nafs that a person has to battle now, but it's also the shayateen also. That's where the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam brings this intention to focus, that ittaqullah haythu ma kunt, that the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is for all times, for every place, not just the masjid, but even outside the masjid, not just within the month of Ramadan, but also outside of the month of Ramadan. Now, if a taqwa person says, well, how do I go, as you colloquially will say, how do I go cold turkey? Just today I was doing such and such things, the next day, how can I become, this angel? It's very difficult. The hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam also understands it. وَأَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ. Yes, a person, اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَيْثُ مَا كُنْتَ, have the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wherever you may be. But human beings, insan, is such that you do fall into these mistakes. So the hadith gives the antidote, the antidote to this. What do you do? وَأَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ. If you do commit a sin, then أتبعه الحسنة, أتبع السيئة الحسنة, immediately do another good deed. If a person accidentally fell into this wrong, then follow it up quickly, immediately with another good deed. If a person, for example, is backbiting, then firstly make tawbah, and then thereafter follow it up with a good deed. Give some sadaqah, pray 2 rak'at in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وأتبع السيئة الحسنة, what will be the effect? تمحها, it will wipe off that sin. So this is very important, that where a person has this intention of achieving that level of taqwa, or the highest levels of taqwa, a person shouldn't look up all the way to the top of the mountain and become despondent now. That I'm all the way at the foot of the hill, how can I get all the way up there? So everything comes slowly, and the hadith also realizes, and Sharia does realize this. So that's why a person does fall, but what should a person do? Immediately follow up with a good deed. Further, the Quran Kareem, verse 184 of Surah Al-Baqarah says that أَيَّامًا مَعْدُودَات, that this is for a counted days, for a number of days, for a few days. أَيَّامًا مَعْدُودَات, that this is for a few days. Just a few days ago, we were thinking, is it Tuesday, is it Wednesday? When will Taraweeh be? Wednesday, when will we fast? Wednesday or Thursday? When is Taraweeh? Everyone was waiting for this. Alhamdulillah, we've almost finished half of the Quran. For example, in our masjids. Other places, alhamdulillah, they've already finished, they've done the khatm of their Quran. Almost half the month has already passed by. One ashra is already done. The ayyam ma'dudat, these are a few days. So very first thing is that it is easy. Ayyam ma'dudat, the Quran is saying it's for a few days. 11 months, out of 12 months of the year, 11 months, you didn't fast, or you didn't have to fast. You should be fasting, but you didn't have to fast. 1 month for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, 1 out of 12, that's very easy. Ayyam ma'dudat. So one thing is that it's very easy. Second is that if it's very few days, then you should make the most of it, because it's not coming back anytime until next year. The only chance we'll have again for the month of Ramadan. Obviously, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rahmah and maghfirah is for any time, any moment. Where we understand the fadail and we stress the fadail, the virtues of the month of Ramadan, that doesn't mean to say that if someone missed the month of Ramadan, oh, no more maghfirah until next year. No. The maghfirah, forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is every day, every second of the year for that person who has ikhlas, and that person that turns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what we're saying is that the levels, what a person can reach in the month of Ramadan, the intensity of the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala obviously increases in that month. So where a person would be able to reach a certain level outside of the month of Ramadan with the same effort, you would reach much higher levels and further in the qurbah and proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the month of Ramadan. So ayyam ma'dudat means a person should take care of this time. فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. Now obviously the Sharia is one of yusr, of ease, and we'll explain tomorrow inshallah what this ease also means, that the Sharia realizes that not everyone is capable of fasting. Some people have different difficulties, people are sick. So the Quran said, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا, whoever is sick, meaning such a sickness which does not allow a person to fast. So it's not that a person wakes up, oh, today I have a slight headache. Half the world wakes up with a headache in the morning because they have to go to school, they have to get some work done, right? Or they have to go to work. فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا, such a marad, such a sickness which prevents a person from fasting. فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ, a person is already traveling. فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ, then outside of the month of Ramadan, any other days a person can and should make those days up. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ, one tafsir of this is that previously, before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this ayah has become mansukh according to some mufassirun. That what the ayah means, that those that have the ability but with some difficulty, those that can but with difficulty. So meaning at a certain point there were three groups. One group of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum who could fast without any difficulty. Second group would be those that can fast but with some difficulty. And third is obviously those that could not fast. So this second level, this has become mansukh and abrogated. What is that? That those that can but with difficulty, then they at that time they didn't have to fast. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ, those that can but with some difficulty they can do it, then they have to give fidyatun, they have to give a compensation, طَعَامُ miskin, of feeding a poor person. So we have the fidya up, the fitrah and the fidya is the same amount. Whatever the fitrah the masjid puts up, that's the same amount a person can give in cash also to feed a miskin. فَمَنْ تَطَوَّعَ خَيْرًا فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ, whoever willingly does any good, فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ, that is better for them. وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ, and that you fast is better for you if only you knew of the rewards that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept. So now, however, this ayah has become mansukh with the following ayah 185 of the Quran Kareem, which inshallah we will discuss tomorrow. وآخر دعوان الحمد لله رب العالمين.